President-elect Barack Obama has ignited a firestorm of controversy by selecting conservative pastor Rick Warren to give the invocation at his inauguration. Warren is an outspoken critic of gay marriage, and that has angered many of Obama's liberal supporters. We're joined by Dr. Robert Jeffries, pastor of the First Baptist Church of Dallas, a longtime friend of Rick Warren, and David Korn is Washington bureau chief of Mother Jones magazine. Good morning to you both.
Good morning. Good morning.
David, let me start with you. Obama chooses Rick Warren to give the invocation. What message do you think he's trying to send?
Well, I think he's trying to send a message of being inclusive and including even people who don't agree with him on many key issues. I think the problem here is that while it's great to have a president who will reach out to the other side and try to make common cause, and I think there are issues where he could do that with Rick Warren. Climate change and poverty issues and AIDS, issues where Rick Warren has been very, I would even say somewhat progressive. But when it comes to the issue of gay rights, only about a week or so ago, Rick Warren compared homosexuals to people who engage in incest and pedophilia. So I think that's by putting him on the stage at the invocation, Barack Obama is indeed insulting a lot of people who came out and worked very hard for him, and is sort of saying that he sees Rick Warren in total as a religious leader who demands a hearing and demands respect, when I think there's parts of what Rick Warren stands for are really at great odds with what people who work for Barack Obama believe and feel. He's been very dismissive of a good part of Barack Obama's base.
Let me go over to...
So I think he's reached out a little bit too far in this instance.
All right, Dr. Jeffries, let me ask you this, because there are people within the evangelical community who can't see straight that this invitation has been accepted by Rick Warren, because here's a president who is very clear in his terms of issues of abortion and other things. Why would you even accept an invitation like this?
Well, Harry, I think there's a tradition, certainly in the Bible, of the Old Testament prophets and the Apostle Paul in the New Testament, of speaking before government authorities and using those opportunities to speak a word for God. But I want to say, to me, it's just unbelievable to think that because Rick Warren believes that marriage should be between a man and a woman, somehow that characterizes him as a hate monger and makes him unfit to pray at the inauguration. I mean, this sounds like bizarro world.
Well, excuse me, though. This is a serious civil rights issue in this country.
Well, Harry,
Dr. Jeffries, go ahead.
Well, let me say this. I mean, we all believe that polygamists certainly enjoy constitutional rights, but that those rights don't extend to the right to be married. We have believed historically in this country that marriage is between a man and a woman, and that reflects, by the way, the traditions of the three world religions, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Rick Warren is not out of the mainstream with world religions, nor is he out of the mainstream with what the majority of Americans
David Korn,
believe.
I've got about 30 seconds left. Go ahead.
Yeah, but Harry, I didn't use the word gay marriage in talking about the objections to Rick Warren. I talked about what he said in comparing gays and lesbians to people who practice incest and people who are pedophiliacs. And so that goes beyond saying I disagree with gay marriage. That's saying anyone who practices these things are pretty loathsome. And so I think in that regard, Rick Warren is, you can call it, some people may call that hate mongering. It certainly is being very dismissive of people who love and choose to live their lives in a different fashion than he does.
All right, thanks very much.
David, Rick Warren
really,
is
very
simply
quickly,
teaching
Dr.
what
Jeffries.
the Bible teaches. Rick Warren is simply delivering the message of the Bible. Jesus said marriage should be between a man and a woman, and that's what the Bible is.
The Bible says a lot of things.
Making up the message. He is simply delivering the message.
Abraham was a polygamist.
Gentlemen, we've got to go. And you can feel a little bit of the temperature that this has created by the conversation this morning. Thank you, gentlemen, both, for being here.